Okay, let's have a conversation, and I think it's going to roll over from the conversation we had during the first banter while on the couch, talking about why do burial ceremonies cost so much? Why do people have high expectations from folks that are mourning, like they are bereaved, they are going through a lot already, yet you expect them to provide food for you, to you is an occasion for celebration. It's even worse when the person dies at an older age. You expect, yes, you will call it celebration of life. And so the person has to throw a party and feed you and your loved ones just because they've lost their own loved one. I don't know. What do you guys make of this whole tradition thing of, you know, extravagant burial ceremonies?
To be very honest, I actually do not blame, you know, there are several religions and several cultures that literally believe that it shouldn't pass more than 5 days. Once the person died, wrap the person up.
In fact, some 24 hours.
24 hours, you understand?
Religions.
It's actually very, religions. It's very understandable that way because even in the Bible, Jesus literally said it, let the dead
bury the dead.
He did. Seriously, and some people literally want to actually make that a thing. However, when you now come to certain cultures, I would say this particularly for cultures because I was actually at the village when we were burying my grandma. And I know I was literally in the kitchen the whole time because we were dishing out food from Friday. I think we got there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Do you understand? And then people will come and even drag you and talk about how you've not paid, how they've not eaten and all of that. And I know a lot of things that also happen with the rites. Right, we're different from the mother's side, her father's compound. You have to, so different things. She was a member of this association. This association will bring that bill. And it's funny and it's quite interesting and I would say conflicting because, okay, fine, you just lost an association member. I know meant to think of how to raise money to support the family, right? But then again, it's just all of this rights and all of that. So I just think, I don't know, I think in the end, to me, I'll say it's a choice and a decision per person. Despite the fact some people feel that you shouldn't turn your back on tradition and all of that, but I believe that if you actually decide you don't want to do anything extravagant, do the barest minimum, which are actually the things you're talking about mortuary and all of that. Probably just do that and just move on with your life.
Yeah, the mortuary part, like you pay 5,000 naira per day to, you know, keep the person there. And then you're waiting 365 days, in some cases 1.5 years, just so as to be able to bury that person. So imagine the mounting bills.
Wow. Why do you have to wait till for a year?
Sometimes there's no
because you're trying to raise money to meet up with the demands of the tradition.
I get... okay, I'm going to share a bit of my experience, right? Because I remember when we buried my dad, I mean, considering, you know, that at the time, you know, we were also dealing with the demise of my mom. So it was just us, the kids. And of course, yes, we expected, well, they were going to be lenient. Unfortunately, they were not. They gave us the lists with all the items, goats. As a matter of fact, one of the goats almost died at the marketplace. You need to see us. Anyway, that's another, just for another day. So, you know, and we had to, you know, dip into monies, into a few savings, you know, just to sort of make up for the demands from, you know, the people, like that's my father's people, basically. Yes, I agree. It can be very, very, very disheartening, inhumane, because in that sort of thing, you're not even, there's no empathy towards that's being shown. Even to us, the children. I'm the first child. So imagine having to bear the brunt of, you know, emotionally losing my dad. And then, you know, luckily we had, you know, some money. So I wouldn't say there was a financial burden. But imagine if that wasn't available. So there's that financial burden. There's that emotional, you know, upheaval, the emotional stuff, because you are thrown into, as a matter of fact, you're still experiencing there's a lot of trauma.
Yes, you're still traumatized.
You're traumatized by your loss, and then you're still having to deal with that. The demands can be crazy. So I wouldn't only, because this is a very sensitive topic, to be honest, because it comes from tradition. There are so many things that tradition demands that is inhumane. Even to widows,
Yeah.
Let's not even talk about widows, women who lose their husbands, who are still having to deal with that. And then they still go through not just, you know, this one is even physical.
Yeah,
Because they are physically abused. In some cases, they are assaulted. In some cases, they are stripped of everything that their husband owned.
Yeah.
In some cases, they are having to, you know, I mean, let's not even...
This one you said, you know, it happened to Onyeka Onwenu as well. Her
Yes.
mom was kicked out with, I think, 5 or 7 children. I can't remember.
Remember there's a movie was she the one that acted it?
Yeah, I think she was the one, right? Yes. Yeah, I think it was just telling her story, reliving her mom's, you know, what she experienced. So, I mean,
it's crazy.
like I said, it still goes back to tradition. I feel that tradition does more harm than good to every. Yes, it has its role that it plays in the society. I'm not going to take that away from it. Yeah. But when it comes to loss, bearing a loss of a loved one,
yes,
it is not fair.
Yeah.
And you know, it even goes beyond tradition in some cases, in which certain religious bodies would demand that, oh, this person
so
yes, pay up.
And it's even
before
funny
we
because
bury this person.
As a matter of fact, if my dad was not because he was from royalty, right? If he wasn't paying his dues, they would have summed up all the dues that he hasn't paid all his life, and they would have demanded that we paid for it.
Yeah. See, as far as I'm concerned, I feel like people probably should include it in their plans. So I know there are actually some organizations now that have funeral plans.
You
can actually save for your own burial.
Some insurance companies as well.
Insurance companies. So you can say, but the thing is, whether you save for your burial or not, why can't you save to leave behind for the people? It's for burial costs, the funeral costs.
So in the end of the day, if you look at
what you're saving
it's
for.
still leaving behind for the people, right? Because the truth is that people have actually weaponized this system, this culture, and this tradition to actually get monies for themselves. Because who's going to eat the goods?
When you say they leave it for, who are they leaving it for?
The people that
She's referring to the loved ones.
I'm talking about the loved ones.
She's referring to the loved ones because you don't leave anything for the loved ones.
So it's not direct, is what I'm saying, right? The people coming with the traditions are literally using it as a system to get monies for themselves and items for
There are
themselves.
certain traditions around the world that if somebody dies, people bring stuff.
Yes.
They don't even want you to enter the kitchen. They just want to be there for you. They and you know, most of us grew up watching such stuff on TV. And so we thought it was normal until reality set in when a loved one was lost and they were old enough to understand that it's not the same thing here.
Yeah.
And you'd be amazed that even in some cases where you've lost a loved one, the family members or even extended family members don't come through for you. It's even people that you least expect
that usually come
that always come through for you.
Look,
there's like I said, there's a role of the church, there's a role of the religious body. Let me not say the church because you know it goes both ways. There's a role of the church. There's a role of the family. There's a role of extended family members. There's a role of your loved ones, your I wouldn't say your friends, because you also have, you know, that you also are expecting some level of support from your friends. In some cases, you will not find it, right? You would be the only one bearing this, even your siblings, because in a case where you're the first and then you're not, and then you are responsible for all your other siblings, are you going to be asking them for monies to support you for your parents'
something
funeral?
Something that to my mind right now for my grandma's. And remember there was a particular, I don't want to say family member or community, I know there were different ashwebis that were going around. And they made it, they said even the ones that are not coming, we must buy the ashwebi.
You people bought everything.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. They said no, as the first, because my dad is the first half son. We have to buy, whether we're there, we're not there. So it's the same thing, using the system to exploit that. To them, it was to remember her. It was a thing of celebration, because she died at 95, 97, thereabout. So they were literally doing, and they were billing him for the celebration they wanted to do for her. And I'm like, I'm kind of confused. Let's not even talk about, I mean, I've had situations where it's not even only there's another situation where my granddad died, and the demands, what they were demanding from my grandmother and her first daughter, not even, like months after, ceremony had passed, everything had passed. her
And because
the wife,
people
and then
pull through, so they say, the
and
money
my
still
mom.
there. Maybe we're done finish am.
Yeah, but you know that.
Really?
Let's also
Let
for
me
a minute.
just
Let's
say
look
this.
at.
Let me just
My
say
mom
this.
didn't. My mom literally
If
didn't go.
I lose a loved one and you come to my house or to wherever I am, expecting to be fed, wallahi talai, if I give you water, you are lucky. Because I'm going through a lot, you're expecting me to feed you. And listen, this is for everyone that I love, everyone that I know. If I die, do not do any party. I might be 90, I might be 120. The only party I expect you to throw is within family members, and you are supposed to just have a good time, no matter the age I die. If you spend on anybody that you're having a big party for me, I pray my spirit to not haunt you. Use that money to bless the needy. People who need it. And if you know that you don't even have the needy or you have needs for the money, use it to invest in something for yourselves. Don't spend any money on any burial.
I also need to also add
thing is
quickly
that?
that I was going to say something now, but I've lost my
Somebody
train
is
on thought
gone.
of that. But then I also would like to mention that there are also debts that loved ones leave
That one is
for
another
loved ones. That's
thing,
another
oh.
conversation.
In fact, it's
So
another
I
conversation.
think that, I mean, this should also bring to fore conversations in that regard need to be had. If you're having bank accounts, maybe you're some savings somewhere, and you know that you're getting to that age, which of course you never know really when it comes to, you know, these
That's
things.
why you
It just
should draw
keeps
up your
knocking at any
will.
time. So you need to, you know, communicate, let everybody know, or maybe some trusted person, that in case of this, you know, in case city, right? These are the monies that I have, you know, plugged in somewhere, or these are even the debts that I have,
that
you
are
know,
owed.
that are owed. So that because at the end of the
married,
day,
I've already
you now have
taken
your
up
children, you know,
What
paying
I
up for
believe is
those
that if
debts,
marriage
even
can be
for monies.
can be dissolved by death. I don't see the debts that cannot be dissolved.
That is by other people, exactly.
Please, let's take a break. You're watching Wake Up Nigeria. Let's hear
That's what
from
I
you.
feel.
Use the hashtag Wake Up Nigeria on TVC. We'll be back.